She mistakenly entered his car, believing it was a robbery. What she revealed was life-changing. Mia's heart raced as she flung open the door of the car parked under the flickering fluorescent lights of the parking garage. "Get out! I know what you're doing!" she exclaimed, her breath coming in frantic gasps. The low growl of the engine and the acrid smell of leather were overwhelming. But as her eyes adjusted to the interior, the startled face of a man met hers. It was Sam, a veteran just back from the battlefield, a map of pain carved into his weary eyes. For a split second they both froze. Fear and confusion tangled in the air between them. Mia, juggling the weight of her life like a tightrope walker navigating a precarious line, saw a threat. Meanwhile, Sam, still grappling with shadows of combat and isolation, felt the surge of adrenaline spike through him. You're not a robber," Mia stammered, her defiance faltering when she caught a glimpse of the hollowness beneath his bravado. "Look, I didn't mean to. We're both in the wrong place, I guess," Sam interrupted, rubbing the back of his neck like the weight of the world rested there. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, an unspoken understanding ignited. "I've got to get home to my brother," she whispered, the fierceness of her fight overshadowed by the vulnerability that spilled from her. She had spent months waiting tables and rushing back to care for Timmy, the little brother whom she'd promised to protect. "Just got back from everything," Sam admitted, his voice cracking. Each word echoed his loneliness. He felt lost like a ship without a sail. "I thought life would be easier. I figured the war was the real enemy. I was wrong." They both breathed heavily, their breaths mingling in the confined space. Mia felt her heart soften at his plight, her spirit a flickering candle amidst the chaos of her existence. She saw beyond the scruffiness of his beard. She saw a stranger, a brother in struggle, seeking the same thing she was: connection, hope, a reason to keep going. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they opened up to each other, the story spilled like a broken dam. Mia shared her nights of tears, her relentless fight to make ends meet, and the fear that she might fail Timmy. Sam talked about how he felt abandoned, battling ghosts that whispered of men he couldn't save. Their shoulders began to droop under the weight of pain, yet in their shared anguish they discovered a flicker of hope. An idea sparked. What if we organize something? A community event for families and veterans? Sam's trembling voice carried a surge of possibility. Mia nodded, excitement bubbling in her. Together they could bridge the gaps that were separating them from a brighter future. But as they considered their plan, doubts flooded back. Could they really make a difference? What if their haunted pasts overshadowed their dreams? They both felt the urgency. The stakes couldn't be higher. It wasn't just about charity. It was about redemption and belonging. Neither of them could have foreseen how this strange, mistaken encounter would interweave their stories. Yet as they said goodbye that night, beneath the glow of the city lights, an unspoken promise loomed. Would Mia's desperate love for her brother lead them to newfound purpose? Would Sam rediscover his sense of belonging? The future trembled with uncertainty, hanging like the last note of a song suspended in the air, yearning for resolution. Mia stood in the parking garage long after Sam's car had disappeared into the maze of dimly lit streets. The weight of their conversation lingered in the air like smoke from a distant fire, filling her with a mix of fear and resolve. If they were going to pull this off, it wouldn't be easy. Back in her tiny apartment that reeked of takeout and the remnants of burnt chicken, she could hear Timmy's soft snoring from the other room. The sight of him curled up on the worn-out couch, his favorite superhero blanket draped over him, tugged at her heart. This was why she had to fight. This was the spark that fueled her push for a better life. She grabbed her notebook and began jotting down ideas for the event, hoping to channel her anxiety into something productive. But could they really make an impact? She knew firsthand how many families were struggling like hers, on the edge of survival. And Sam, with his deep scars and turbulent thoughts, would they really trust each other enough to bring this plan to fruition? Doubt clawed at her, whispering, what if this is another wild goose chase? The next morning, she woke with the sun slipping through the ragged blinds. She could almost feel the light sliding into her soul, filling her with determination. She had to reach out to Sam, to remind him that their shared vision mattered. With a shaky hand, she found a piece of paper and wrote down his phone number, carefully punching the digits into her phone's contacts. It felt unreal, knowing she once viewed him as a threat, and now saw him as a possible partner in this mission. Just do it, Mia, she whispered to herself, and with a deep breath she pressed call. The phone rang and panic surged through her. What if he didn't answer? What if he regretted their conversation? But then there was a click and Sam's voice came through, laced with sleep yet somehow invigorated. Mia? He asked, surprise evident in his tone. I had some ideas, she said nervously, but felt the weight of purpose settle over her. About the community event. What if we meet up to plan it? Yeah, he replied, enthusiasm creeping into his voice. Absolutely. When? Tonight? My place? A pause followed, a moment of hesitation. Then sure. I can bring some ideas too. As she hung up, Mia felt a swell of excitement fill her chest. Maybe this strange serendipitous moment was more than just another precarious encounter. Perhaps it was the beginning of something that could change everything. That evening the doorbell rang, sending a tremor through her. Mia opened the door to find Sam standing there, a bag slung over his shoulder and an uncertain smile on his face. Hope I'm not too early, he said with a half laugh. Not at all. Come in. She stepped aside, letting him enter her world. The small apartment that had always felt so lonely now suddenly alive with possibility. As they sat on the floor surrounded by crumpled papers and ideas scrawled frantically across the pages, their laughter filled the room, echoing off the walls. It felt like they were building something more than just an event. They were forging a connection, a friendship built on shared burdens and dreams. But just as the plans began to take shape, a loud crash outside shattered the moment. Gasping, they exchanged worried glances and instinctively moved toward the window. What could possibly be happening out there? Was this the threat that Sam had fought so hard to escape? As they peered through the glass, their hearts racing, the world outside seemed to shift yet again, throwing them into chaos instead of community. Would they find the strength to face whatever lay ahead together? Mia squinted into the darkness outside, her stomach twisting in knots. Beyond the flickering streetlights, chaos unfolded, shadows darted and voices rose, urgent and jagged. What was that? Sam's voice was steady, but Mia could hear the underlying tension. I don't know, she stammered, her pulse quickening. A loud crash resonated again, this time followed by shouting. It felt like something far removed from their tranquil planning session had just stomped inside uninvited. Maybe we should check it out, Sam suggested, inching toward the door. No. It was a spontaneous protest, fueled by fear and protective instinct. What if it's dangerous? I can handle myself, he said, glancing back at her with a determined look. But I can't just sit here while something's happening outside. If we want to help the community, maybe we should see what's going on. With a hesitant breath, she nodded. Okay, but be careful. They headed toward the door, the crashing sounds amplifying with each step. As they stepped outside, Mia felt ice settle in her veins. A small group had gathered in the dim light, murmurs of confusion mixed with shouts of anger. The air crackled with uncertainty. What is happening? Mia called out as they approached. A woman with wild hair and tear-streaked cheeks turned to them, her expression fraught with fear. They're fighting over the corner store. Something's happened to Mike. I heard he was she couldn't finish the thought, fear choking her words. Mike? Sam echoed, his brow furrowing. Isn't the owner who helps everyone out? Mia's heart sank. She had seen Mike serve meals during the holidays, smiling warmly at the neighborhood kids. If something had happened to him, the ripple effect would be devastating. A man from the crowd stepped forward, his fists clenched at his sides. They're trying to take the store. Can you believe that? His voice cracked, betrayal slipping through the anger. He has always helped us. Now we have to stand up for what's ours. Mia's mind raced. This was more than a fight over property. It was about community, survival, and the spirit of a place that many had called home. Why don't we organize a rally? Sam blurted out, meeting her gaze with intensity. We can stand up for Mike and others like him. If we can get people together, maybe we can make a difference. The suggestion lit a spark in Mia. This wasn't just about them or the event they had started planning. We can use the ideas we were working on, she said, feeling hope bloom in her chest once more. We can bring everyone together for a purpose. Sam nodded, enthusiasm igniting in his eyes. Let us do it. As they turned, ready to charge back into her apartment, a shout pierced the air. Hey, you two. You can't just walk away. Mia froze. She looked back to see a man from the alley approaching, his face shadowed but fierce. Get back here. If you're gonna help, you better plan on sticking around. Glimpses of fear clenched at Mia's heart. Could they truly help? Was it possible that they could be the catalyst for something bigger right outside her apartment door? Her mind raced, but amidst the swell of uncertainty, one thought crystallized. They could either walk away or step forward. In that moment, she locked eyes with Sam, and without a word they both knew. It was time to make a stand. With the crowd growing restless and tension palpable, Mia stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined. All right, we're in. But we need all hands on deck. Who's with us? Would their call to action resonate with the community? Or would it be drowned out by the noise of chaos surrounding them? Mia's words hung in the air, a fragile promise of unity. The crowd shifted, a slow wave of uncertainty washing over them. Whispers turned into low conversations, eyes darting as if unsure how to respond. The man who had called them back stepped forward, the intensity in his gaze unyielding. You really think you can do something? He challenged, crossing his arms. People have tried to stand up before. They never last. Mia felt Sam's hand on her back, a reassuring pressure that urged her on. We can be different, she said, her voice gaining strength. We can't let Mike's fight be in vain. Let us unite our voices. We have so much to lose. A murmur rose from the crowd. Some nodded while others remained skeptical, their worry palpable. Among them was a woman with a young child cradled in her arms, her tired eyes searching for hope. What do we do? She finally asked, her voice trembling. Mia strode forward, anchoring her thoughts in that woman's gaze. We gather everyone. We can create flyers, plan a meeting, share our stories. We need to get the word out and demand what's right. She felt the urgency rising in her chest, her passion igniting as if a fire had blown through her. Flyers? The man chuckled, shaking his head. Do you really think that LL do anything? It's a start. Sam interjected, stepping up beside Mia. We'll harness social media too. Make a campaign that gets people talking, photos, videos. We can show how important the corner store is to all of us. Slowly the energy changed. One by one more people stepped forward. A brown-eyed teenager raised their fist. I'll help with the design, make it look cool. And I can create a Facebook event, shouted another, hope beginning to spill over their initial hesitation. Mia glanced at Sam, relief washing over her. The first wave of enthusiasm was building, igniting sparks where despair had flickered. Okay. Now we need a place to meet, Sam continued, eyeing the crowd. Somewhere safe where we can lay it all out. How about the community center? A voice called from the back. They'll support us if it's about Mike. Mia felt gratitude swell inside her. Yes, the community center it is. Just then, a loud bang echoed from the alley, sending shockwaves through the crowd. The atmosphere shifted again, a cold bite of fear rippling through the gathered people. What was that? Someone shouted, panic rising. It's happening over there. The man pointed and everyone turned to the alley, eyes wide. Mia felt her heart race and her stomach twist. This wasn't just chaos anymore. It was escalating. Stay here. Sam shouted, rushing toward the noise without a second thought. Mia, wait. But she felt herself moving, legs propelling her forward as adrenaline surged through her body. As they approached, they saw a few men arguing, voices raised like an orchestra of fury. Mia's feet stopped cold as one of the men pushed the other. Sam, what do we do? She breathed, fear gripping her. They're getting out of hand, he replied, scanning their surroundings. We have to intervene. We can't lose focus even if it feels unpredictable. In that moment, Mia's decision crystallized. Together then, she said, conviction flooding her being as they stepped into the chaotic scene. Both of them were ready to stand, ready to protect their community. With hearts pounding loud enough to drown out the noise of the struggle, they stepped forward. Would they defuse the situation or plunge deeper into the chaos? The question simmered in the air as they advanced, prepared for whatever came next. As they faced the brewing storm, Mia silently wondered if they would find the courage to act or if fear would break them apart just as it had before. Mia's heart pounded in her chest, echoing the chaos around her. A tense energy buzzed through the air as she and Sam moved closer. The arguing men looked like two storms colliding, anger crackling like electricity. "Stop!" Sam called, his voice cutting through the noise. It felt both bold and desperate. Mia held her breath, trying to believe they could make a difference. The men paused, surprised by the intrusion. One of them, a tall figure with tattoos snaking up his arms, turned toward Sam. "And who the hell are you?" The crowd hung back, eyes wide and anxious as Mia's throat tightened. This was at the moment where courage had to outweigh fear. "We're not here to fight," she said, stepping up beside Sam. "But we need to talk about what's happening here. Violence won't solve anything." The tattooed man glared, but a flicker of confusion crossed his face. "Talk? You think we want to talk?" "Yes," Mia insisted, her voice steadying. "Mike's fighting for this community, and you're tearing it apart." The name was a spark, igniting the collective memory of the pain they all shared. For a moment the world fell silent. The other man, shorter and with a weary look in his eyes, shifted uncomfortably. "We're just trying to survive." "Then let us help," Sam interjected. "Fighting won't get you what you need. We'll be stronger together." Another murmur rippled through the crowd, uncertainty starting to give way to hope. Mia's heart raced as she felt the energy shift, but it was still precarious. "We want to create change, not division. There's enough of that already." "She's right," the shorter man said quietly, letting out a long breath. "But how do we trust each other? How do we know you won't just walk away when things get tough?" Mia saw the weariness etched on his face. It resonated deep within her. "We start with honesty. We start with each other." She held his gaze, willing him to see the truth in her eyes without another word. The tattooed man stepped back. "Fine. I'm listening." It surprised everyone, including Mia. She felt a weight lift, yet knew this was just the beginning. The crowd was shifting now. Some stepped forward, drawn in by the unexpected turn. They were ready to engage, to listen, to be a part of something bigger. Mia felt the tide turning slowly but surely. Stories were shared. About not just losing the corner store but losing a part of their history, their community. As they spoke, the initial fear melted away, replaced with determination. In that moment of connection, it wasn't about who was right or wrong anymore. It was about coming together. Mia caught Sam's eye. He offered her a nod of support, his faith in her unwavering. Together they were creating a ripple, a chance for change. But just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the alley, jolting everyone out of the fragile peace they started to build. What was that? A voice shouted. Panic rippled through the crowd again, hearts racing as they instinctively turned to look. Mia felt panic clenching at her gut once more. "We have to stay focused. Stay here," Sam urged. But the fear was spreading fast, pulling people in different directions. Would they be able to hold on to the momentum, or would chaos upend it all once more? Mia's resolve deepened. "We can't let fear stop us now." But could they really navigate through the uncertainty ahead? Or was this moment of hope about to slip away like grains of sand? The noise grew, a cacophony of shouts and footsteps thrumming through the alley. Mia's heart raced as she gripped Sam's arm, pulling him closer. Images of chaos flashed through her mind. This was about to go sideways, and they couldn't afford any missteps. "What do we do?" Sam's eyes were wide, and though the panic was evident, there was something else there too. Determination. They had come this far and she wouldn't let it crumble now. "Stay calm," she whispered, taking a breath to steady herself. "If we split up, it'll just become more chaotic. Let us keep our ground." The tattooed man was shifting from foot to foot, his expression wavering between curiosity and defensiveness. The shorter man stepped slightly forward, still cautious but willing to listen. "We need to see what happened. There could be trouble or worse." As a quiet moment set in, Mia darted her eyes across the faces in the crowd. Some were still frozen in fear, while others were starting to grasp that their collective voice could matter. "Listen. Whatever that was, we need to check it out together. If we look for trouble alone, it'll only cause more chaos." People murmured, weighing their fear against her call for unity. The tattooed man finally nodded. All right, but stick close. His resolve showed that something was shifting in their dynamic. They were no longer just on opposite sides. They were in this together. Thumping heartbeats cut through the silence as the group turned. It wasn't just the crashing sound that echoed in their minds. It was the spark of courage igniting behind fear. As they moved toward the back of the alley, they spotted a woman crouched by a dumpster, her breathing erratic. She looked up, panic glistening in her eyes as she fixed her gaze on the crowd. I thought someone was coming for me. Her hands trembled and Mia could see the raw fear etched on her face. What happened? Mia stepped forward, instinctively kneeling beside the woman to offer a sense of reassurance. You're safe now. Can you tell us what took place? The woman's breath hitched, her voice barely a whisper as she pointed toward the street. I was just walking home. And then I heard someone shout. I panicked and fell. I thought they were fighting, and then I saw them, the shadows. Mia exchanged a worried glance with Sam and the others. Shadows? Men with guns, the woman gasped. They were coming this way. Fear ignited the air once more. The tattooed man clenched his fists, the uncertainty creeping back into his expression. We have to go. Whoever they are, they won't stop just because we're standing here. But we can't leave her, Mia urged, her voice firm. If they're out there, we need to stick together. We can't abandon each other now. A voice broke through the anxiety, rising against the tide. She's right. The shorter man's tone carried the weight of a reluctant decision. We can't run in different directions. If we do, we lose. A protective bubble formed around the woman as everyone united, setting fear aside. Something formidable was building within this group. It was more than hope. It was resolved. As they rallied, the sound of footsteps thundered closer. Mia's heart raced in rhythm with the pounding feet. Okay, we've got to think. If they're here, we need to plan. Will we really fight? Sam whispered, uncertainty creeping back in. No, Mia replied, determination sharpening her voice. We won't fight them. But we're not backing down either. The shadows emerged from the street, stealing their breath. As the figures came into view, Mia felt an overwhelming surge of power with each heartbeat. They had a choice. Confront or retreat, defend or flee. But as she stood there with the others, something unexpected flickered in her heart. A sense of belonging she yearned for filled her with courage. Then time froze together for a split second, the world in focus. The moment of truth arrived. She would either lead them into a new future or watch everything they had tried to build fall apart. And in that moment she felt the gravity of her decision. The stakes were higher than ever, but there was no turning back now. Mia held her breath. Would they step into the light, or be swallowed by the dark? Mia's heart pounded as the shadows approached, each footfall echoing her mounting dread. The figures loomed closer, and her grip on Sam tightened. She could see the first flash of a gunmetal gleam, and every fiber of her being screamed to act. Stay behind me, Mia instructed the woman, her tone sharp but protective. The tattooed man and the shorter guy formed a shield around them, their shoulders squared as they braced for the unknown. Unity, a thread woven in fear, was their armor now. Look at them, the tattooed man hissed, eyeing the approaching figures. They don't look like they're here for a friendly chat. Mia felt a wave of anger mixed with fear swell within her. Maybe they're not. She snapped. But we need to give them a reason to talk. We can't go in swinging, or they'll just react. The figures slowed to a halt just a few feet away, revealing men dressed in dark clothes. Mia caught sight of their eyes, sharp and deliberate, scanning the group. A clear leader stood slightly in front, taller and more menacing than the rest, a tattoo snaking up his neck that caught her attention. Who are you? He demanded, his voice like gravel. What are you doing here? Mia glanced around, noting how the crowd behind her instinctively inched closer together. We heard a commotion. We came to see if anyone needed help. Her voice trembled, but she held her ground. Uncertainty clung to her, yet she knew there was no backing down now. Help? He laughed, the sound low and dismissive. You think you can help? You're just kids. There was no threat in his tone, yet his eyes betrayed an unpredictable menace. No, we're not. We're more than that, Mia shot back, emboldened by the resolve of those around her. You may think we're just standing here, but we're a lot stronger together than you think. The tension in the air thickened as the leader exchanged glances with his crew. Then, unexpectedly, something shifted in his demeanor. His smirk faded and was replaced by a wary curiosity, as if he hadn't expected resistance. "Stronger together, huh?" he retorted, pausing as if genuinely contemplating her words. "What's that even mean? You think you can just stand here and protect this alley?" Before Mia could respond, the woman at her side gasped a sound that cut through the growing tension. "Please, you don't understand." Her voice trembled, breaking. "They're coming for me. They don't care if you're here. I saw what they did." The tattooed man's expression changed. Concern registered on his face as he shifted closer to Mia, pulling the woman behind him for good measure. "Shut up," the leader barked, but Mia could see the flickering uncertainty in his eyes. He didn't want this chaos, not any more than they did. The threat of violence was a hair's breadth away, and Mia knew she would have to act fast. "If you're here for her, then maybe we can negotiate," she said, willing herself to boldly step forward. "But there's a bigger picture here. You don't want to fight. None of us do." For a moment it felt like everything hung in balance: the anticipation, the fear, the adrenaline coursing through their veins. "Negotiate?" the leader repeated, his intrigue growing. "What do you think you can bring to the table? What can a bunch of kids like you possibly offer?" Mia hesitated, her mind racing. What could they offer that would make a difference? She could feel Sam's anxious gaze on her, the weight of hope and fear blending in the glare of the unknown. "Safety," she blurted, adrenaline pumping. "We can make it worth your while. There's more than just fights and threats. This alley can be a safe place if we all work together. You want power? Let us use it to build something better." Silence hung heavy, and for a heartbeat, it felt like she had managed to pierce through the wall of hostility. A flicker of contemplation sparked in the leader's eyes, and Mia could sense the shifting tide. But just as the air began to change, a loud crash echoed from behind them. Panic surged as every eye turned, the moment fracturing once more. What could have been a bridge to unity now fell into shadows as uncertainty swept back in. "Did you hear that?" Sam whispered, fear creeping back into his voice as the group turned once more toward the noise, hearts racing. Mia's gaze darted toward the street. What now? She thought. Would their moment of calm unravel into chaos again? Or was there still a chance to reach the light together? "Stay close," she murmured, a flicker of determination igniting within her. Who was about to come for them, and how could she keep everyone safe? The real storm was just beginning. The sound echoed through the alley, a loud crash that seemed to slice through the tense air. The leader's eyes darted toward the source of the noise, narrowing as if he could see the chaos before it unfolded. The tattooed man flinched, instinctively leaning closer to the woman. "What was that?" Sam whispered again, his voice barely audible over the pounding of Mia's heart. She risked a glance back at the crowd, seeing their fear mirrored in every face. The uncertainty loomed larger than the menacing figures in front of them. Then, out of the shadows emerged a gangly figure, clumsy and frantic. It was a young man, wild-eyed and staggering, clutching a cardboard box to his chest. "Run!" he shouted, panic in his voice. "They're here." Mia felt a jolt of terror course through her. Who was coming? What kind of danger had just been unleashed into their fragile moment of truce? "Get back!" the leader barked, shifting his stance. Suddenly, the tensions ignited again. Fear igniting like a match in a room full of gasoline. The crowd was about to panic, and Mia could sense it. They were just kids, but to protect each other they had to act like more. "Everyone stay calm," Mia shouted, rallying her small group. "We can't lose control now. Grab onto something or someone. We need to stand together." The tattooed man glanced at Mia, his eyes flickering with a mix of admiration and anxiety. He squeezed the woman's arm, showing he was ready to defend her. Just as the unsettling tension thickened, another crash erupted from the street, this time accompanied by a chorus of angry shouts. The shadows in the alley seemed to deepen as more figures emerged, silhouetted against the flickering streetlights. Mia felt the weight of every pair of eyes on her, searching for guidance, for strength. This was not just about her, this was about protecting everyone. "We're stronger together," she cried, finding her voice over the chaos. "If we stand firm now, we can make it through whatever's coming." The leader paused, caught in the pull between his crew and the growing unrest. For a split second, vulnerability crossed his face. Mia seized that moment, You don't have to hurt anyone. We can make this work. Just give us some time to sort this out. Sam, emboldened by Mia's strength, took a step forward. If you just listen to us, we can find a way out of this. His voice was shaky, but Mia felt the determination beginning to resonate through their group. The leader's brow furrowed as he scanned the encroaching chaos, considering the two sides. He didn't want a fight, but a part of him hungered for dominance. What's in it for me? He growled, clenching his fists. Unexpected shouts erupted from the street, a massacre of words and fists spilling into the alley. The wild-eyed young man was trying to dart back, panic gripping him. They're coming. He screamed again, fear fueling his wild gestures. You don't want to be caught here. Mia's grip tightened on Sam's arm. Move back and merge with the crowd, she instructed, her voice steady. Create a barrier between them and us. We're not just kids, we're a unit. But before they could react, there was a flicker of movement to the left, a rustle in the shadows. Mia's heart skipped. Hands raised, an unexpected figure emerged. Clutching a metal pipe, determination etched across their face. Leave them alone. A new voice rang out, fierce and unyielding. Mia's heart soared and plummeted, a mix of hope and dread. Who was this new player, and what would their arrival mean for the fragile alliance they were trying to uphold? Sam, we need to be ready, she urged, adrenaline swirling inside her as they faced the coming storm. This is it. Whatever happens, we stick together. Trust me. As the shadows began to converge, Mia felt the weight of every decision pressing down, but she also felt the flicker of something else possibility. But her thoughts were interrupted again when the newcomer took a step forward, eyes locked on the leader. You don't want this fight. You have no idea who you're messing with. What secrets were buried beneath that brave front? And would her fledgling plan hold when the fight they all dreaded finally broke free? The storm was gathering fast, and Mia felt the rush of uncertainty pulse through her veins, echoing the cries of the alley. The newcomer was a whirlwind of energy, standing firm against the encroaching shadows. Mia's heartbeat quickened as she studied their stance. They were not just brave. They were ready to fight. She turned to Sam, who was now wide-eyed, taking in the unexpected turn of events. Who is this? He whispered, his voice trembling. I don't know, Mia replied, her eyes locked on the leader, who seemed both intrigued and enraged by the sudden arrival. The stranger stepped closer, holding the pipe like a lifeline. I'm done running. We're not going to let you bully us anymore. Back off. The leader took a measured breath. And who the hell are you? He spat, now clearly agitated. The gang members behind him bristled, their hands twitching towards weapons at their sides. Does it matter? The stranger shot back, revealing a flash of defiance. You think you're some kind of king around here, but your throne is built on fear and lies. Mia felt the grip on her heart tighten. This was not just a street confrontation. It was a challenge to everything the leader stood for. She saw the moment of consideration flash in the leader's eyes again, like he might be weighing his options. She leaned closer to Sam, her voice barely above a whisper. We have to do something. We can't just stand here. But what could they do? There were too many of them, and the armed tension in the air felt as thick as fog. They were trapped, yet Mia could see the uncertainty swirling among some of the thugs. Maybe they too were looking for a way out just like her. What do you want? The leader finally growled, not hiding the tremor in his tone. You think you can just threaten me and walk away? The stranger's eyes flared with a strange mix of fear and confidence. I want you to leave these kids alone. They're not part of your game. Just let them go. Mia felt the tether of that unwavering strength curling like a vine around her heart. It was audacious, brave, foolish. But whatever the newcomer was attempting, it gave Mia the spark she needed. Everyone stay together. She called out, feeling her voice rise above the noise, pulling the crowd as one. We're not afraid. If we stand together, we're stronger than them. The gang started to shift, uncertainty etched on their faces. The leader's bravado began to waver under Mia's defiance, and for the first time, she could see a flicker of doubt twisting in the corners of his hardened expression. Mia stepped forward, heart racing. You think there's power in intimidation, but all you're doing is tearing your own team apart. The tattoos on the leader's arm seemed to ripple like snakes as he clenched his fists. His gaze darted between Mia and the newcomer, weighing his choices. Behind Mia, the crowd began murmuring, A subtle wave of shared resolve. "Let us go, man," one of the gang members suggested, obviously uneasy now. "This isn't worth it." But the leader wasn't ready to give in just yet. "Shut up," he barked, but even his voice sounded hollow. The walls of his facade were cracking. Mia pushed into that space. "If you really want respect, it doesn't come from fear. You could lead differently. Work with us, not against us." Hope surged, working through her as she watched the others standing firm, each face twisted with determination. Sam leaned closer, whispering urgently, "Mia, we can't just trust me." She interrupted, fixing her eyes on the leader. "Do the right thing." In the depths of uncertainty, a soft gasp escaped from the newcomer, who watched Mia as if they'd never truly seen her before. Perhaps in that moment they fully understood her strength. The leader hesitated, caught between two worlds, the one he built and this unexpected group threatening to change everything. But just when Mia thought they might turn a corner, another loud crash ruptured the tension, and chaos unfurled once again. A familiar fear scuttled through the masses as sirens wailed in the distance, fear blending with the weight of their choices. "Mia!" Sam shouted, eyes wide. "What is happening now?" Time hung like a pendulum, swinging between hopes and fears. Would they finally face the confrontation that had been brewing? Or would another unseen force tear their fragile alliance apart, just as they began to believe they could stand together? As the sounds of approaching sirens echoed closer, Mia's heart raced with the realization that everything was about to change once more. Would they even have the chance to make that choice together? Mia stood amidst the swirling chaos, adrenaline rushing through her veins like wildfire. The sirens wailed in the distance, echoing through the alley, a harbinger of something bigger. She glanced at Sam, his expression a mix of dread and hope, and at the stranger who had braved the storm beside them. "We can't let fear dictate our outcome," she whispered, clenching her fists. The leader of the gang shifted nervously, his facade of bravado starting to crumble. "What do you think is going to happen if the police show up?" he growled, yet his eyes betrayed uncertainty. "We'll show them that we won't be afraid anymore," Mia shouted, her voice rising above the growing panic. "This isn't just about you or your fear. It's about our community coming together." Behind her, the crowd shifted as nervous glances were traded. But now there was something more: determination. Kids squeezed their hands into fists, mothers tightened their grips on their children, and even the tattooed man stood with a fierce glare at the encroaching gang members. "Look around you." Mia gestured to everyone. "These people are tired of being pushed around. This is about survival, about our neighborhood, not the small piece of turf you think you own." The newcomer shouted, "Let us not turn this into violence. We don't want more bloodshed. Let us build something instead." The words hung in the air, a challenge wrapped in desperation. The sirens grew louder, moments ticking like a time bomb. Mia could feel the crowd's energy shifting. The leader's expression twisted, caught between his crew and the growing strength of the community he'd previously underestimated. "You think you can just take back what you want? This is my turf." Mia took a deep breath, the weight of the moment crashing down. "No, it's all of our turf. Together we can make it something great. We can create a safe place where we can all thrive, not just fear." Another crash vibrated nearby, throwing the tension into overdrive. "We don't have time for this," the leader snapped, panic creeping in. "We need to leave." But before he could react, the tattooed man stepped forward, his fists still clenched. "You've done enough harm. It's time for you to go." The stranger raised the pipe, not as a weapon but as a symbol. "If you care about this community, you'll walk away now. We'll shake hands on a better path forward." Mia's heart raced as all eyes were on the men, uncertainty draping like a fog. What would he do? Then, with a breath that seemed to last an eternity, the leader took a step back, glancing at his crew. "You think you've won? This isn't over," he spat, but the sharpness in his tone wavered. "Then let us make it a start together," the stranger replied, lowering their weapons slightly. Mia watched hope flicker into the leader's hardened gaze. The crowd held its breath, silence blending with the distant sirens. With one final glare, the leader motioned to his crew, "Let us get out of here." The group turned, retreating into the shadows of the alley, the tension dissipating as quickly as it had formed. Cheers erupted among the crowd, a wave of relief washing over them. Mia felt a surge of emotion swell within her chest as she turned to Sam. We did it. We actually did it. This was just the beginning, Sam said, a broad grin breaking out on his face. The newcomer stepped forward, now standing shoulder to shoulder with Mia. That was incredible. You showed more courage than I've seen in a long time. Mia looked around at the faces, a tapestry of hope and resilience. We didn't just protect ourselves, she said, breathing deeply. We came together, and that's what matters. As the sirens faded in the distance, the crowd buzzed with enthusiasm, a renewed sense of purpose pulsing through the group. Let us meet at the community center tomorrow, Mia declared. We need to build on this, organize our voices, and truly make change happen. Yes, the people cheered. Together. The night brightened around them, their shared experiences forming an unbreakable bond. As Mia walked home alongside Sam, a radiant smile spread across her face. The shadows that had once loomed so large seemed to shrink. The flicker of possibility became a blazing flame within her spirit. They would create the change they sought, one step at a time. Life would not be easy, but it promised a sense of belonging, a rallying of spirits eager to connect. The future would not be written in fear but in courage, in unity, and in love. And with her brother's laughter echoing in her mind as a motivating force, Mia knew in her heart they would rise above all the darkness and embrace the light waiting just ahead. Now is your moment. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss this transformation and the powerful journey we're undertaking. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the word. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of unity and hope. Your support makes a difference. Join our family and be part of this incredible journey.